What's up, fam? I am back on here again. I just wanted to come on here because today I want to talk about how many brokerages and where are the brokerages that I have personally been a part of. So, number one, and I will always rep them to the day I die, is I started off with and it's a funny story. So I was in college, and for a lot of people who don't know, I actually had a scientific and a medical background in biology, and I ended up switching because in my junior year of college, I ended up taking an internship, and that internship was at Keller Williams Cityside here in Smyrna, Georgia, and I fell in love. I literally I wasn't expecting it. I needed an internship, and I was just like, yeah, I feel like I can help people a lot better. And not only that, but it was such a more significant, like, role, I felt like. So versus, like, teaching speech pathology or something into, pathology like I was thinking of, I actually geared towards helping people buy their first home and having a secure future, especially passing down and creating generational wealth. So there was that as well. So, and then, like I said, it was a great experience. I will always love Keller Williams until the day I die. And Cityside especially, it was such a great family atmosphere. Okay, so yeah, they were a great start. That's my number one pro when it comes to them. And then, like, say the reason I guess I left was because it was mostly the splits. I think we all, and then it's your first brokerage, so you just don't know what's out there. And I think I was just like, well, let me get my feet wet. And I went to my second brokerage, which was Mark Spain, specifically in Stockbridge. Now, if you're around that area, that might have been a good idea for me to have done. However, I did not live anywhere near Stockbridge at the time, and they have morning like each morning meetings or whatever, which is whatever, but that was the biggest pro with them, ironically. As much as I hated it and as much as I did not want to drive 2 hours away just to go to a fucking meeting, I actually really appreciate it now, because I'm like, okay, well, that was the biggest thing that I could take away from Mark Spain, my time with them, and the hustle. Like, it just gets you into that mind frame, into that scheduling, so it just into the calling. So I can't say that it wasn't a great experience at the end of it. So you take what you can from it. But I think I did ultimately, just because I ultimately left because they have this weird thing with disc too when you get there. So they put you in front of, the assessment or whatever, and they're like, oh, do it. And I'm like, well, I already did this at Kyle Williams. Here's my results. And they're like, well, we base our buyer's agents and our seller's agents based off what they did on the disc. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, according to this one, you would be a seller agent. And I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, well, we just don't think that's a good fit for you. So we're going to have you take the disc again. Like, it was going to change in like 6 months. And guess what? It didn't change. I was still showing on the disc that I should have been a seller's agent. At the end of the day, they made me a buyer's agent. So that was just weird. I guess it rubbed me the wrong way. And I started getting more personal deals, like through my family and friends. And then Mark Spain was just like, oh, cool, we're going to send them to the seller agent. I'm like, what the fuck? These are my friends and family. What are you talking? That was just like the biggest, weirdest thing, I guess, with Mark Spain. So that's why I ultimately left them. And then number 3, you guys are gonna be like, this bitch. After Mark Spain, I went to Keller Williams First Atlanta. So for those of you who don't know, Keller Williams First Atlanta, it's literally the next brokerage over, location wise, and it's the same fucking like sisterhood. It's the Rolls Group. So it was pretty much like the same place, essentially, been in a different location. But that was my number one pro with them. I love their location, and anything with Keller Williams, especially if they work together, you can use those offices remotely, which is great with meeting up with people. And you're in downtown, so this looks really fancy. You can do closings and appointments, so it's made it seamless. But I ended up leaving just because I did love the classes. I loved the environment. I could not find anyone to really work with, let alone social with, and I really did try, and people were like, you didn't try. I'm like, I feel like I tried. I'm a real person and I feel energy. I know people think I'm crazy, but when I feel energy and it's not real, I'm just like, I'm not about to put up with you. We don't like each other. We don't like each other. So for me, it was very cliquey. And it was to the point where you had to do something, or you had to wear something all the time, or you had to do something to fit in. And if you did do it, it wasn't even a chance of you fitting in. So I felt like, especially, you know, and the diversity of everything, it was just hard for me to fit it anywhere. So I ended up leaving, and then it was just, but still got left with them. And then let's see, we're on number 3 technically. So number 4, you guys are gonna be like, you're so basic. I went back to Keller Williams Suicide. That's my number 4. So I guess it's like still the same choice, but regardless, that's how much it shows that how much I love essentially Keller Williams. Just because I guess after that, I just felt like I need to go home. I was like, let me go home to Mama for a while, and they did. They opened me back. They welcomed me back with open arms, and I love all of them over there. So it was just really good. I got into my first coaching over there, and that's where I really did elevate my business. So that's another pro to them. I was able to grow, and then I guess the reason I left again to my 5th brokerage was because I grew too much. I just started getting a lot of deals, and again, the costs were okay. But even after you cap, it just, for me, I'm just like, that's still a lot of money. So ultimately, I did leave again, because of pretty much the same exact reason. And number 5, the last brokerage and final brokerage I'm still currently at is Maximum One Realty. And I like this brokerage, and my biggest pro was the cost, of course. The splits were low, very affordable plans. So that's ultimately why I'm still with them and why I like them right now. And then I guess the biggest con would be, I know this is going to be weird, there's just not a lot of competition. And I'm like, that could be good and bad in certain situations. And at first I thought, too much competition was bad. Keller Williams seemed very competitive. However, I did really good in Keller Williams. And I don't say competitive in a negative way, but it was just nice to hold everyone accountable and be like, look, these are the top agents. This is how we're performing. And it was a really big deal and a big thing in the meeting. And pretty much every other brokerage too, except for Maximum One. So that's not bad, but at the same time, I guess that is the only thing I missed. But that is my video about the 5 brokerages that I have been to. But I hope you guys keep it easy and be safe. Bye.